Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? Glad to be with you guys for a second time live today. We did the John and Way show earlier. 4 Patreon breakdowns today. So this is number 6, baby. And we're not done. We're just going to keep bringing it up. I know it's a short week for the players and coaches, short week for us, but that doesn't mean we're going to skip content. You know, this is a flagship program here. We got to talk about our scouting report, our predictions, our bets. This is the most important game of the week. The NFL gave us a primetime spot on Thanksgiving. We're not skipping anything on our end. And I do have to say, shout out to the man, Coach Cruz. That dude is the absolute MVP with what he does. He is the producer of today's show. He has just absolutely crushed it. Shout out to all the Countdown crew. Dave, what's up, man? What's up, Montana? We got a lot of freaking awesome people in here. Josh, the man, the trivia king, excited to give away a bunch of stuff at our events in Seattle. Compliments of the man himself, Josh, 49ers Faithful Forever. We got 20 fun trivia questions. We're doing 4 competitions. You know the Niners better than everybody else. You're going to win something nice this weekend, which I'm excited. And Josh don't miss. He does not miss. He said, you know, this is a Debo game. My bets would suggest the same as well. When you're putting in your bets and you're like planning things, you got to kind of go with the ebbs and flows of the odds makers and all that kind of stuff and find where to manipulate certain spots and not. They have faded Debo. And just when they thought he was out, they pull you back in, right? And I am with you. Not necessarily that Debo's going to lead the team in rushing or receiving or anything along those lines, but those odds on the Debo stat line, whew, strong to quite strong. Pretty excited about that. Thank you, all you guys. Hashtag CC. What's up, Big Papa? Hey, Tommy. Hey, Sean. Appreciate you guys. And Yatsik, what's up? Hashtag CC. He says, Faithful JC. I'm catching 2 live shows in 2 days. Turkey legs on Seahawks logo incoming. Whoop. There we go, man. Absolutely love it. I had to do the whoop. You know, he put it out there. You got to put the emphasis on that. S1K Friday says, joining from work. Okay, I got to calm down with the whoops. Tommy says Burford out. Not necessarily. Probably out. Aaron Banks is practicing. Burford, yeah, it's rough. You know, they signed, depending on where you're at, you know, they bring in another offensive lineman, Barch, from Jacksonville, guard. And, you know, you've got Ilm Manning. You've got a lot of positions that you can kind of move around. Feliciano's practicing left and right guard, which he has been all year. Zakil's out. We stack injuries. This is the problem, right? This is the 49ers issue. Injuries happen across the NFL all the time. There's no doubt about that. Hufunga's done for the year. That one hurts much more. But whenever you start stacking injuries at one position, that's whenever red flags start to show up. And so you had Banks. He might be back. He was limited today. Then Burford, he's out. Then Zakel, who we didn't need to rely on, but he was a break glass in case of emergency guy. Then he tears his bicep on extra point. And it's just like, okay, we're down 3 guards in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And so it's just like, whoa, red flag. And so, yeah, you got to kind of scramble and you got to kind of figure some of this stuff out. And, you know, you got to put players in positions they can be successful. Now we have Matt Pryor, who has played guard this year as well. So you can flex him in there. I wouldn't be shocked if he was the first one off the bench. You know, Feliciano first, Matt Pryor second. Then you could talk Barch. I doubt he plays in the short week. Ilm Manning, that would be my bet. But, you know, we haven't really seen him play inside much since he left our team and then came back. So we'll see there. Jordan, he says, flying up to Seattle now, see the faithful up there. That is what I'm talking about, Jordan. I'm flying out early in the morning. Because of that, I'm not going to be able to do the Steph and John and Wayne show. I'll be on a plane with the family on one of the craziest travel days ever. So we'll see there. And Joel, right, who replaces Burford? I think you slide Feliciano would be you slide him over because I think Banks will play if he was limited. If it wasn't, and Kyle said this, if it wasn't a short week, then Burford would be fine. But because it is a short week, now he's questionable. He's not out. He's questionable. He probably isn't going to play, but we haven't seen that he is out yet. So that's important to see there. And so we'll have to see what that is. Personally, I think Feliciano slides to the right. Banks slides to the left. Not too big of an issue there at all. Happy with that. You got Pryor backing up some guards. Carl up Corey Luciano. He's a swing center, just like you did last week. Ilm Manning, perhaps. Going to be just fine. And not too worried about that. Sean says, how about a live from my dope party pregame hype video? Man, okay, so let me say this. When we first started doing all the Rush road trips, the plan was to go live and do like a 20-minute show. But man, at those parties, it is bonkers. It's awesome, and I love it, and I'm very thankful. But a lot of people that come out there, they might go to 1 or 2 games a year, and they want to say hi, and I want to thank them. And so, my job, we have an amazing staff, the 49ers Rush team, and they're going to be in full effect this weekend. But man, stuff comes up, and I got to focus on the people that paid to come out and party and all that stuff. And so initially, I always wanted to record live. But now I don't even get to take pictures just because I'm running around like a madman trying to make sure that I touch every single person that is there and get to know and thank them and, just start to build those relationships and trivia and on the mic and the giveaways and making sure kids are having a great time. So it's been hard, but I always want to. It's just once it gets going, it's like, all right, I got to focus. Yeah, I got to focus. And so we'll see. I'll try to get something out this time, but no promises. Wayne's going to be there, though, so that helps a lot. When Wayne's there, everything goes smoothly. Josh says Banks plays and Feliciano for Burford. That's what I expect as well. So Sean says, man, just give us 2 minutes right before y'all walk to the stadium. Dope way to walk to the – man, I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try. No promises, but I'm going to try because I know once I get in those events, it's just like I got to make sure people are having a good time. But that is a great idea, Sean. And I really appreciate you. So let's do this. Without further ado, let's dive in. How many pages of notes do we have? 16. Just a couple. Just a couple. 16 pages of notes for today. 49ers and Seahawks, Week 12 matchup. Thursday Night Football, Thanksgiving primetime game at night. This is going to be awesome. This is the most important game of the year. Number one. I know a lot of people want to talk Philly. Nope. This is it. I care way more about this game. Way more. And with the way the NFC has shaken out, probably a little bit more so. We do have that 2-game stretch for Philly. They could lose to us and lose one more than we would win the tiebreaker. But I don't even care about that. You got to win your division first. And you could put a hurting on the Seahawks. The 49ers won 2 in a row. You go to the bye week. Had that 3-game skid. That was rough. Blow out the Jaguars. It's just not even a competition from the start. And the Bucs game, put it on them. And, they got that late score to make it look more competitive than it really was. But that was a 2 to 3 touchdown game pretty much the entire time. So not concerned about that. 2 great wins. Now, you swept the Seahawks last year. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Beat them 3 times. And so they're coming off a loss to their division. They got swept by the Rams this year. Ooh. You look at point differentials. The 49ers are plus 122 on the season, one of the best in the NFL. Seattle Seahawks, -2. They're 6-4, and they've got some very quality wins. They're averaging 21.6 points a game. They're giving up 21.8. They're all close games. And almost everything they do, except for whenever they lost. And so let's go through their schedule, 10 games in. In common opponents, we played 6 of the same teams. They're 3-3 on teams we played with a plus 13-point differential. We played 5 teams together, right? Because they played the Rams twice. That's why those numbers are off. We're 3-2 with a plus 28 differential. So if you're looking for commonalities there, Niners definitely have the distinct advantage. But let's go through their schedule. They get blown out by the Rams at home, 30-13. They beat the Lions in Detroit, 37-31. Beat the Panthers by 10. Beat the Giants by 21. Giants' worst team, in the NFL. Then the bye week happens. Lose to the Bengals, 17-13. Beat the Cardinals by 10. They beat the Browns. Maybe, The Lions, and then they beat the Browns. Those are kind of their two big wins, 24-20. Got blown out by the Ravens by 34 points. I mean, that was just got boat raced. Barely beat the Commanders by 3 and then lost to the Rams last-second field goal. They're not a bad football team, but they're not a good football team. They're negative on the point differential. They're well coached, and so whenever it's a close game, they can make some things happen, but they're not a good football team. The roster is not good. Do they have some solid players? Yes, 100%. They might not have one All-Pro. Let me say this again. I don't think that there is one current All-Pro on this team. There are a few places where they have an advantage, and we'll talk about that whenever we get to matchups. There's not one All-Pro on this roster. Now, this year, Bobby Wagner's on the team. He's incredible. No doubt about it. Tyreek Woolen had a great rookie year. Diggs is always good. The safety. Witherspoon's looking like one of the better rookies. But is there a top player at their position anywhere on this roster? The answer is no, it's not. Now try to say that same thing about the 49ers. Yeah, see the difference? Ed, he says, bang, bang, I'm late, gang. Appreciate you, man. Just glad you're always here. Hugo, earlier show with Wayne Breezy was awesome. Back for more 49ers Rush content. Thank you, Hugo. That's what's up, man. You guys are just the absolute best. RA says, what do people think of the front office tries to get Leonard? I would like it. I think he's better than our number 3. But this dude just got benched in Indianapolis. He's not the same after his back injury. I love him, though. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. I was a little low on him in the draft. I was wrong. He was incredible. But you can't pick him up off waivers. That contract's bananas. So then you'd have to sign him as a free agent. Why would he come here to be the linebacker 3 whenever he could start for a team? And so I like the idea of getting him, but I don't understand. It has to make sense for us, has to make sense for him. I don't understand how that makes sense for him. If we had an injury, maybe, but we don't. And we've got 3 linebackers that are playing very, very, very well. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I'd love to have them. I want everybody. But yeah, not too concerned. Not too concerned. I don't think that's a good pairing for them or for him. Now, let's jump into the Seahawks. Let's go through all the different metrics. We go through a lot. Shout out to Coach Cruz again. But let's start with the head coach, Kyle Shanahan. He talked, this is earlier today. We just grabbed this video. Here's his thoughts on the Seahawks.
Just the style they play with. They're so competitive. Doesn't matter what the record is, where you play. Offense, defense, special teams, they all go extremely hard. They practice hard. I think just the style of their play, and when you watch the silent tape, it's as close to ours as anyone else. I think we're very similar in the style our teams play with.
Which is a compliment while complimenting yourself. Very humble there, Kyle, but I kind of agree with him. Very tough, very well coached, pretty solid team. Now, the way in which they use their draft capital and the way in which they use their salary cap capital couldn't be further from the truth. They build outside in, we build inside out. But these teams have been very good for a long time. They've had our number. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of that is Russell Wilson. Again, he swept them 3 times last year. Now, from Pro Football Focus rankings of the individual units and groups and whatever, overall they're 9th. Offense, they're 10th. Defense, they're 9th. And probably the scariest thing to me is their special teams. They're tied for first. From a Pro Football Focus number, they're first. We're 26th. And so they're not a bad team. They're not a good team. But they are an above-average team. They're 6-4. Their record reflects that. Now look at the Niners ranks from those same categories. 49ers first overall, 3rd on offense, 1st on defense, 26th on special teams. Our special teams sucked last week. It was terrible. Made our field goals, which was nice. But punt return, kickoff return, all lost considerably. And Mitch has been our best special teamer all year. Mitch Wisnowski, he didn't have a good game either. He punted 3 times, not one were inside the 20. So we've got to figure some stuff out there. You know, we have the advantage everywhere, not special teams. Not special teams. Now, let's talk about the old gum flapper himself, Pete Carroll, 72 years old. I don't like him. I can't stand him, in fact, but he looks pretty good for 72. And very positive dude when he's not cheating in college. And his career is interesting. It's tied over with the 49ers. He was our DC in 1996, which if you're coming to an event, that is going to be a trivia question. So I will reward you for your loyalty and listening to the podcast. So little insider trading there. Hashtag Martha Stewart. Now, his career has been interesting. Started at Pacific. He's from California. He's from Redwood. Went to Redwood High School in Larkspur, California. Pacific was a graduate assistant, then Arkansas, Iowa State, Ohio State, North Carolina State, back to Pacific. This dude worked his way up. It's not like he got, a golden ticket and jumped to the front of the line like Kyle Shanahan did. Not that Kyle Shanahan isn't a great coach. He is. But, come on, let's be for real. It's not like Kyle Shanahan went out there and earned a starting job in the NFL, his very first football job ever. That was Pops, and that's kind of what it is. Defensively, in the NFL-wise, he's worked for the Bills, Vikings, Jets, promoted to head coach of the Jets. Then he joined us for 2 years, 1995 and 1996 seasons. Then he went back to being a head coach again for the Patriots. Then USC, where he had a lot of success, got caught cheating, then left as soon as the cheating scandal happened. That's kind of what he does. And he's been in Seattle since 2010 on. And now he's the vice president of football operations. He runs the whole show. He's a great coach. I'm not trying to say he isn't. Yeah, he's a cheater. Yeah, whatever else. But he's a damn good coach. There's no doubt about it. 2-time national championship, Super Bowl champion. He won 4 Rose Bowls, 2 he's just a damn good coach. And his teams always have the same persona: strong physical running game, sound defense, great special teams. That's just what he is. Right here, Danson, what's up? She says, did you see the clip of Greenlaw talking about his interaction with Carroll at the Combine? Cracked me up. No. Dancer, will you let me know where that is? I cannot get enough Drake Greenlaw content in my life. If you guys know or don't know, he's my favorite player on the 49ers currently. I am packing the all-white 94 throwback Greenlaw jersey for the trip this week. I'll be wearing my starter jacket to the game because it's going to be cold as hell. But I will be repping the all-white 94 throwbacks, which is what the Niners are wearing. Here we go. Josh said it's on the Warner House. You haven't got to watch the past couple weeks. I've been a little too busy, but I will have to check that one out. Warner House is incredible, and sometimes I get to make them all, sometimes I don't. But since I brought up the starter jacket, I got to tell you, Homage is dropping a brand new. Check this out: black satin throwback with the 49er saloon font on the front. Whew. Drops in the morning, Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern. The link is in the description of this video, but they won't be available till tomorrow. Now, I do have to say, I will be buying one of these. If you want a Christmas present, check it out. I do get paid if you use our link. You can go straight to their site and buy it off there. I do not get a portion of those proceeds, but I do want to be upfront and obvious. I just freaking love this stuff. You know me, nostalgia out the wazoo. But yeah, the black freaking satin, whew, that thing is clean. So if you don't know what you want for Christmas and your wife and your kids are always asking you, tell them that right there. The link is right there. Buy it now to be ready for Christmas. You know what it is. That way you have a good Christmas when you unwrap it. And again, thank you, Danson. Appreciate the recommendation. You are awesome. And so there we go. Alejandro, he says, that's fire. It is fire, man. I can't get enough Niners stuff. I have a Niners shirt. I got my Niners Tecmo Bowl shirt on underneath, homage. I got this sweater on, hoodie, homage, and I got the residency hat. Yeah, it's Niners all the time, baby. That's what we do here. Now, going back to the coaching staff for the Seattle Seahawks, Shane Waldron's their OC. And, he's interesting. Went to Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts. Andover, if we're going to do the correct Massachusetts, which I'm sure I messed that up. He was a tight end and long snapper for the university at Tufts, which is really, really cool. Portland, Oregon guy, another Pacific Northwest. Went to Milwaukee, Oregon, LaSalle High School. He started off at Notre Dame. A little bit of a different story than Pete Carroll, right? Who starts off at Notre Dame? But hey, props to him. He's a damn good coach. Then he went to the Patriots, jumped down to Hartford, then kind of worked his way up. Buckingham Brown Nichols School, UMass, then with Washington in 2016. Guess who was there? That's right. Oh, no. This was right after. This is McVay guy, not a Shanahan guy. Was with the Rams, tight end coach. I love tight end coach. Promoted up with McVay to the passing game coordinator, quarterbacks coach, and then eventually to the OC. And he's done a good job. Won 2 Super Bowls in his time with the Patriots. He's a good coach. He's a good coach. McVay guy. And that seems to be all we play, man. We play McVay, or we play his friend, and the Cincy coach. We play the Cincy's coach's brother. Now we're like, it's just, this is a McVay Shanahan league. It's what it is. And Shanahan started it all. No doubt about it. Right here is Adams playing. Adams played 15 snaps all game. I don't think he's playing. I haven't seen, I've got the report right here, but Jamal Adams was limited this week with a knee. He's played 15 snaps, Jamal Adams, all season. So I expect Love and Diggs to be the guy. Like, I would not, if he's not full, I would play him. But that's just me. Maybe he'll be out there. He's a damn good player, and I hate that he's been injured so much. One of the worst trades in NFL history. The contract on top of trading those multiple firsts, which turned out to be like a top 5 pick, which just terrible. But I don't like Jamal Adams, but I do want him to play. I hate injuries. I want everybody to play. So, yeah, I don't think he plays this week. He is limited, or at least he was yesterday, but we'll have to see. He's going to have to get a full practice. There's no way he's going to play in a short week if he doesn't get a full practice in. That's just me. Dancing. Oh, picking up on where she left off earlier. Talking about Pete smacking his gum, saying, cool story, bro. Love Greenlaw. Always keeping it real. And Greenlaw, that dude's the CEO of Seattle, baby. He has owned that team, whether it was Russell Wilson or not. Greenlaw, always the Hawk Slayer, whatever. I mean, I want all the nicknames, right? But CEO of Seattle, that was mine. I'm just going to put that out there. John Chapman, I started that one. Hawk Slayer is pretty cool, though. I do like that one, too. So, anyway, I don't know if Jamal Adams is going to play. Now, their DC, Clint Hurt, which is like the coolest name ever for a DC. His last name's Hurt. Coach Hurt. That's pretty cool. 3-year letterman at Miami. Had an injury that ended his career. He's from the Bronx. Started at Miami as a GA, which he played there. Then FIU, then back to Miami, Louisville, then with the Bears. Then Seattle Seahawks, and he's kind of worked his way up. And so don't know anything about him personally, but a pretty good dude from all accounts. And so curious to see how it's going to go this game. Now, let's talk injuries. Because when you look at the Seahawks, it's a long list. They struggled versus the Rams. I'm not going to say anybody that was full. Jamal Adams, limited knee. Right? Jake Bobo didn't practice shoulder. Trey Brown, corner, limited foot. Kobe Bryant, corner, limited toe. Tyler Lockett, wide receiver, one of their better players, limited hamstring. Speed guys with a hamstring, you got to watch out for. Abraham, he was full. Jarek Reed, their stud special teamer, kind of their George Odom, on IR. He's done for the year. Geno Smith has not practiced. Will not practice. His elbow's a mess. I do think Geno's going to play. Geno's not playing well. He's not. We'll talk more about him in a second. Kenneth Walker, he's not playing. They're running back. Tyreek Woolen, probably their best DB, limited shoulder. Drake Young, wide receiver, did not practice. Abdomen. They are banged up, bro. And this is what happens on short weeks. It's just... Yeah, Ed. Yeah, they have 7 starters injured. Now, the matchup history isn't good for us. Seattle leads the series 30-20, and all that's Russell Wilson time, where we just sucked for a long time, and they just had our number. That's changed. And last year, you beat them not once, you beat them twice, you beat them 3 times, and we beat them with all 3 of our quarterbacks, Trey, Jimmy, and Purdy. All played those dudes and all beat those guys. Now, Brock even got to play there on Thursday night. When was it? It was in January. We were at that game. It was January 14th. So we've already played there. That was a hat and t-shirt game when we won the NFC West. And, Kyle Shanahan was asked, how do you feel with Brock already having played there if it gives him an advantage?
It's real valuable. I mean, he's been to some loud places too, but Seattle is always right there as the loudest, if not tied for it. And You can always tell people how loud it is, but they don't know till they go there. And he went there, so he knows what we're talking about. So I don't have to stress the importance of it to him. He's going to be doing it to our guys for these 2 days.
Now, you look at that division. That was the wild card round. And we won 41-23. You put up 41 points. Brock Purdy threw 3 touchdowns, 332 yards, got sacked 1 time, 131 rating. Geno Smith, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 3 sacks. Kenneth Walker was kind of their best player, 15 rush attempts, 63 yards. He's not playing this game. Christian McCaffrey had 119 rush yards, did whatever he wanted. Debo, 30 rush yards. Mason had 12 rush yards that game. He's not going to get that this game. DK Metcalf, 10 catches, 136, 2 touchdowns. That was kind of the big one. We'll see how we play him this time, but yeah, I mean, it was a blowout. And Dre Greenlaw led the team in tackles, 11 tackles. He was all over the place. And, Omeni, who had 2 sacks, probably one of his better games. Armstead had a sack, but it was domination. It was complete domination. And you beat a team not once, not twice, but 3 times. You got their number. And right here, yeah, Alejandro, we need to start seeing those 49ers Seahawks primetime Sunday night games like we did a few years ago. Seattle's been screwed over by the NFL scheduling. Not once, but 2 years, not Seattle Seahawks, the Seattle 49ers fans. Because one of the largest chapter bases is the Seattle Faithful, who are just freaking rock stars. I love that group so much. They are so positive. They do so much for the community. They organize, I'm putting this up there now. They organize the meet to welcome in the 49ers plane and buses whenever they land in Seattle. And they're doing that again this year, 4 p.m. Wednesday night at the Seattle airport, 2440 South 166th Street, Seatock, Washington. I mean, they're just the freaking best. And so, like, you're talking about one of the largest Niners fan bases in the United States. And then not 1 year, not 2 years, but the years before that, COVID, you're talking like 4 years since this fan base has had a regular game to celebrate. If you work during the week, that's rough, man. So I'm with you, Alejandro. And, my thing, I'm a fan first, and it's about the fans. That's what all this is. That's what we do here at the 49ers Rush podcast, bringing people together. And, yeah, they've been screwed over. So they deserve a Sunday night primetime game. I 1,000% agree, and I hope it happens next year. So, anyway, now let's switch over and let's talk about – now, if you are going to that, I should probably plug our parties too, right? Night before party, right after the welcoming the team in. We'll be at the press box, which is 1 block south of Lumen Field or Lumen Stadium, whatever the hell they call that. We'll be there at 5 p.m., which is going to be a blast. And then our tailgate, which is going to sell out, guys. We don't have a lot of spots left. And I hate that I'm going to have to turn people away. I don't like that. But to do a full Thanksgiving meal for a few hundred people is difficult. I want to make sure everybody has the best time. So that's going to be 1:30 to 4:30. So if you're thinking about going, you need to go to 49ersrushroadtrip.com now because sadly, we're just going to have to say we can't. And it has nothing to do with money. I just don't want people to have a bad experience and the finite resources, sadly. Maybe that should be the slogan of the 49ers Rush podcast. But yeah, and then on top of that, our next party will be at, I'm not doing Philly. I don't want to go to Philly. But then whenever Seattle comes to the 49ers here in just 2 weeks, we will be hosting the tailgate in the Blue Lot for that if you want to come out with us, drinks, food, all that stuff for the home ground. And then Arizona, we got Patrick Willis coming to party with us. So 49ersrushroadtrip.com. That's what's up. What's up, Don Burr? Detroit first, everybody. Yeah, congrats to you guys, man. We're talking about Seattle right now, the one team that beat you. You got beat twice, but yeah, you guys have had a hell of a year, man. So props to you guys. Now, let's talk about the Seahawks defense and kind of Seahawks in a whole. Let's start with George Kittle. I love it whenever he talks Seattle. Here's George Kittle just talking about Seattle and kind of everything that they do.
Thursday night football against the Seattle Seahawks. Short week. Shout out to the Rams. Good job, guys. Good job, Mike LaFleur. So thankful for them. But, all that means is Seattle's going to be a little angry. and it's going to be a great game up there. It's one of my favorite atmospheres, one of my favorite places to play. They absolutely hate us, and what a great fan base to absolutely hate us. It's really fun. It's going to be an exciting game. It's going to be a physical game, and we have to go up there and get a win.
Love that, man. Anytime Kittle talks, you got to listen, right? He's just the absolute best. So you've got the defense. These are their ranks out of 32 teams. This is the Seattle Seahawks defense, okay? 19th in points allowed, below average. 23rd in yards, bottom 10. 15th in turnovers, so that's average. 16th is average, right? So right there. 9th in fumbles recovered. 28th in first downs, not good. 16th passing touchdown. 20th interceptions. 19 rush yards allowed. All out 32, right? 24th rushing touchdown. 17th yards per rush. 29th in third downs. 2nd and fourth down. That's it. 28th in red zone. Like, I go through every single week. Coach Cruz goes through, and I go through. Shout out to Coach Cruz again. He's the best. 46 statistical categories that rank 1 through 32. They only have 2 out of 46. This is offense and defense in the top 5. They only have 3 in the top 10. It's not a good football team. From a metric, EPA, all that kind of whatever, they're not good. You look at their roster, it's solid. They're a solid team. That is correct. But whenever you can't, I'm searching, man. I'm trying to find something that they're a lead in. It's just not. It's not what they are. They don't have it. Now, there are some very good players. And Devin Witherspoon, the rookie, damn good player. First corner off the board this draft. He's ranked 5th out of 115 players who have played nickel. We could use the nickel, good Lord. But actually, Demo did really, really well last week. He's been great. He blitzes. He's physical. He does a lot. Kyle Shanahan was asked about the rookie Devin Witherspoon. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, it would have been fun to watch him these last 24 hours if we weren't having to go against him, but he was as advertised. He's a good player. He's all around the ball. When you study the run game, you see him a lot. When you study first and second down, you see him a lot. When you get to third down and watch coverages, you see him a lot. So it's every aspect of the game he has an impact on, and a really good football player who is also extremely talented.
Yeah, and so it's just he's a baller. There's no doubt about it. They're not a bad team at all. Now, I like this question, Hugo, and this is something I didn't even think to look at it from this vantage point. Hugo says, how does the defense compare to last year, downgrade, upgrade? Oh, it's about the same. They were 25th last year in points, 26th. They only had one top 5 category, right? Fumbles lost. They got 11 fumbles last year. That was it. They had one top 10. They were bad last year. So it's not really an upgrade or a downgrade. They've stayed stagnant. They're just not a good group. They weren't a good group. They're not a good group. It's bad. Now they get Bobby Wagner back, who he's amazing against the run. He's the number 1 run defensive graded linebacker. One of the worst coverage grades, and he has been for 5 years now. Yeah, young Bobby Wagner, and he's going to Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about that. But that dude can't cover space. He can't cover space. I'm going to do a whole bit on CMC and versus Bobby Wagner later in our matchup section. But amazing run player. Amazing. Intelligent, Hall of Famer, great. Leaves a lot to be wanted in pass coverage, to say the least. Boye Mafe, second-year player. I was really high on him. He's playing great. Trey Brown playing all right. Leonard Williams, who they just traded for. That was a good trade. Leonard Williams is a damn good player. There's no doubt about that. And kind of one of the things that makes Seattle what they are, I'll let Shanahan kind of set this up. The numbers don't really back it up, but when the Niners play Seattle, their number 1 emphasis has always been stop the 49ers from running. And here's Kyle talking about that.
They're always a challenge to run the ball against. It usually takes till the fourth quarter and you got to break a long one to ever make it look like you did good. They usually commit to that pretty well. Up there, it's twice as hard as anywhere else. Cadence is a huge issue. They would use it to their advantage big time, and it's hard to get it going. So, you got to get a big one to have that, which we have gotten a couple times, but it's usually not till late. And then I usually look at getting the run game going to kind of how we do when we're not running the ball, because that has to do with staying on the field, moving the chains, and that's what allows you eventually to get the run game going.
And so, yeah, I mean, they're going to overcommit to the run. Now, in the past, Jimmy Garoppolo days, all that stuff, the whole idea is you stop the run and 49ers offense is stagnant. Well, now Brock Purdy's coming out, most efficient quarterback in football and almost every single damn metric. Go ahead. And, this is one of my keys to success, kind of stealing from the future here just a little bit. Go ahead. Load that box, man. Brock Purdy has earned the right to check out of whatever the damn play he wants to. And you go back to the Bucs game last week, this dude audibled out of run plays like 4 out of 5 first plays, and it worked. It worked. And the plays that we went straight run did not work near as well. So Brock's earned the right. You want a will and deal? I think we're in that place. Now, you don't abandon the run game completely, but go ahead. I don't know the way in which Seattle's going to approach this game. They don't blitz Brock very much. We'll get into those numbers here in a minute, but the 49ers are just in this weird position offensively where they can script their plays and sit back and say, hey, all right, cool. You want to take away the run? We can throw the ball. You want to back them all up? We can run. You get a pick. How do you want us to beat you? We're going to go with what you give us. And so with the short week, that definitely hurts. They got 7 starters out. That hurts. It's hard to implement a lot of new stuff when your players aren't even practicing. And that's exactly where they are. Tariq Woolen, one of their corners, really good player. He's kind of like the Trayvon Diggs guy. It's boom or bust, man. That dude gives up a lot of yards, but he is aggressive and will go for the pick. Ayuk versus him, please, all day. Players exploit Darrell Taylor, their edge. He's terrible. Draymond Jones, who they paid a lot of money for, has not panned out well. 77th out of 125 defensive tackles, 57.7 grade, not good. Quandre Diggs, one of my favorite players, hook 'em horns on this team. He struggled, turned 31 in January. His play seems to be dissipating, so we'll see what's going on. Now, tendencies, they give up a lot of explosives. They've allowed 21 explosive run plays, 34 explosive pass plays. That's average, 16th in the NFL, 49ers first. We don't do that. Blitzes, their tendencies. Last week, they blitzed the Rams 8. The week before, Washington 19. Baltimore 10. Last year against the 49ers in the wild card route with Brock Purdy, they only blitzed 3 times. Week 15 on a short week, they only blitzed Brock Purdy 2 times. So I don't really feel like there's going to be, a whole bunch of blitzes and whatever else. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, let's talk quickly about, let's jump over. Let's go to the other side. Why not? Let's talk about the offense. The Seattle Seahawks offense, and kind of everything that they do starts and stops with the quarterback. It's the NFL. Let's talk about the comeback player of the year last year. What did he come back from? Just being himself. Here's Kyle Shanahan talking about Geno.
Geno's, he's earned this role to get to where he's been these last 2 years. Geno is really good at, kind of attacking the defense, take what they give him. The goal is to hopefully make them one-dimensional and try to get them to have to make some bigger plays and not just stay within the scheme.
There you go. Oh, I want to say shout out to Melissa. She's one of the best there is. Hashtag CC, Happy Thanksgiving, Countdown Crew, and the Rush. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all the positivity and all the content you bring to the community, Melissa. It is awesome, man. Really appreciate you. Josh, yeah, Kyle's being generous. Geno hasn't been good. Let's just be very honest. He really hasn't. The first 8 weeks last year, he was good. Second half of the season, average at best. This year, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's not even close to average. That's below average. Doesn't even have a 2-to-1 ratio, 65% completion percentage. He led the NFL last year. That was the one thing, was he was just consistently completing passes. He's not doing that this year. Guess who is leading the NFL in completion percentage? Brock Purdy, right? And so he's been sacked more times than Brock. It's not a fair competition, and all he has is 3 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. They go spend a top first-round pick on Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, Lockett, all those guys. So let's go through, just like we did with the defense, and let's go through all these categories. Out of 32 teams, 16th in points, average. 18th yards, average. 7th in turnovers. They have protected the ball fairly well. 5th in fumbles lost. That's one of the two categories, top 5. 15th interception, 20th first downs, 13th passing yards, 18th passing touchdowns, 12th passing yards per attempt, 28th in rush attempts. I almost called them a name. This team went out and spit back-to-back picks, back-to-back top 50 picks on running backs, Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Not that they're bad players, but you spend back-to-back top 50 round draft picks, overall top 50 overall picks on running backs, and then you don't run the ball? What the hell is that about? I don't get it. 25th in rush yards, 17th rush touchdowns, 17th in rush yards per attempt, 4.1, 30th on third downs, not sustaining drives. Why? They're not running the ball. 12th on fourth downs, 22nd in the red. It's not a good team. You turn the tape on and there's splashes, but yeah, and I want to go to the question. I think it was Hugo that asked earlier, are they better or worse than last year? I know you didn't ask this for the offense, but I'm still in your idea. Way worse. Last year, they were 9th in points scored, 13th in yards. And this year, you look at it. Oh, well, they're 16th and 18th. They've downgraded dramatically offensively, and the offensive line's bad. You look at their kind of starting lineup. Cross, who was a rookie last year, has been average. Lewis, below average, their left guard. Brown, their center, way below average, 29th out of 38 on PFF. Haynes, below average. And now you got a 42-year-old. This man is older than Jonathan Lamar Chapman playing right tackle. Jason Peters, Hall of Famer. He's great. But come on, bro. 42 years old? He's a damn good player. And he's still worthy. I mean, he's got a 63.5 grade from PFF. Let's see here. I want to look up how he's done so far this year. I had this earlier, but I don't have it memorized. So I'm going to go to their blocking grade on PFF. And I just kind of want to see. Jason Peters has played in 4 games. And yeah, he's played well. He's given up 8 pressures. He's played pretty well. He's got a 62 pass block grade, 71 run block grade, which is better than a lot of the guys that they got out there. Actually, it's not. Pass blocking grade is the 5th for any tackle on their team. So they've moved a lot of guys around, but he's done it for a long time. But man, 42? Ugh, that's rough. Now, you look at their kind of players of strength. It starts on the outside. That's how they built their team. Got to talk about their wide receivers, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Kind of the biggest deal of their entire team, probably the strength of their number. If you had to pick one position group where it's okay, this is what they are, it's wide receivers. Here's Kyle.
DK is just how explosive he is. He's in the size of him, to be that explosive with that size and be able to drop your hips and run all the routes. It's had 2 guys I've ever been around like that, and one was Julio Jones, and the other was Andre Johnson. And this guy, I think, is a couple inches taller and about 28 pounds bigger, so shows you how talented he is. And then Lockett, I think, has been one of the more underrated receivers over the last 10 years. He's so consistent in what he does. He's got such a savviness on how to find the zones, when to lean away from certain man looks and stuff, and very consistent receiver.
Lockett, DK Metcalf has had 1 Pro Bowl year, no All Pros. Last year, only played in 9 games, 646 yards, 3 touchdowns. One of his best games was against us, though. But whenever you look at Tyler Lockett, Kyle Shanahan is exactly right. He has been one of the most consistent. He had a string of 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons in the 2018, the year before they had 965 yards. Last year was hurt, played in 10 games, only 545 yards. But I'm more concerned about Lockett. Every year I am. DK Metcalf is the biggest bully out there against non-physical people. We're physical. And so, yeah, DK, you're a bully. Awesome. You can beat up guys when they're not looking and take cheap shots, and you're one of the dirtiest players in the NFL. That's awesome. But whenever you're playing against Dre Greenlaw, you're going to shut your ass up. That's just what it is. And it's what's happened every single time. And the only success that he has is on running fade routes. So Wilkes and everybody got to kind of put him in, our players in a position. But yeah, DK is dirty. DK is soft. He's very soft. He's the softest big dude I've ever seen play. And it's funny because it's like you see him and he's the biggest mamma jamma out there, but he's soft. And I remember watching him at Ole Miss, and I kept saying, like in my draft grades, like DK Metcalf's incredible. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's a damn good player. AJ Brown was way more physical than him, despite being a lot smaller. Not that AJ Brown's small, but I'm just saying. DK's, man, Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw messed that dude up. That's all I got to say. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Charles Crossgood, Zach Charbonnet, the rookie. That dude's going to have a career day. One of my keys to this game is Zach Charbonnet, the rookie running back out of UCLA. That dude needs to go over 75 yards rushing for them to even have a chance in this game. Listen to Kyle talk about the rookie.
Good back, done good in the games this year. We really thought he was a good player coming out of college. He's good at running the ball, good at screens. We got better last week, I thought, at screens, not to be confused with did very good. So something I know we'll keep seeing, and we got to keep challenging.
And, he's getting more and more snaps as things kind of continue to go. But the 49ers are one of the best run defenses in the NFL considerably. Like, you kind of look at, I opened up the wrong page. I apologize. I want to make sure that I get this accurate. You look at what they've allowed running the ball, second fewest rush attempts, third fewest rush yards in the NFL out of 32 teams, right? Right there, we have more categories in this one little slice of analytics than the entire offense and defense of the Seattle Seahawks. And yeah, I get it. Charbonnet's, trending upwards. There's no doubt about it. But listen to last week against the Rams, who suck against the run, 15 carries for 47 yards. Not good. In fact, his number one game that he's ever had was 53 yards rushing. The over-under, this is going to tie it to my bets of the week. The over-under on his rush yards is 55.5. He's never done that in his career. Now, I know that he's a starting back now with Kenneth Walker out. He's going to get a lot more carries. I'm hitting under big time because if the Niners could do anything, it's stop a terrible rushing team. And guess what? The Seahawks do. They stop a terrible rushing team in themselves because they never give the guy the damn ball. And I don't expect that to change this week. I really, really don't. So, yeah, he's a damn good player, but this is a bad matchup for them. And the reason why, you look at the interior of their offensive line, and really, outside of Charles Cross, Damian Lewis, left guard, bad. Center, Evan Brown, 52 run blocking grade. He's barely in the top 32 centers. There's only 32 centers. He's 29th. Phil Haynes, their right guard, he's 60th as far as guards go. And then Jason Peters, he turned 42, man. Like, come on. What year is this? Is it 1990? Then yeah, that's awesome. No. I'm just not feeling it. Now, in one of my favorite clips that I'm going to start playing every single week, the NFL is all about one thing.
This league is all about, each week is matchups and different things. So
I love Steve Wilkes so much, man. So I kind of revamped the way in which I want to do my matchup segment to, instead of just, best on best, I want to do on each side of the ball, one matchup that favors them, the opposing team, one that favors us, and then one blue chip on blue chip, best on best, right? So when the 49ers are on offense, I think their best matchup is Boye Mafe, the second-year pass rusher against Colton McKivitz. That speed and bend, I don't like that. Now, McKivitz coming off a pretty damn good game, all in all, but that's one of the ones that kind of concerns me a little bit. Our best matchup, in my opinion, and people would disagree with me on this, Brandon Ayuk versus Tyreek Woolen. I love that matchup. Now, Tyreek Woolen's a damn good player. He's huge. He's fast. All those things. He's very raw. His feet are always out of frame whenever I watch film, and he is gutsy. I think IU's going to put this dude in a blender and I'm just saying, I think that's coming. Now, best blue chip matchup, best on best, CMC versus Wagner. That's pretty cool. In the run game, anyway, it's fair. In the pass game, not fair. Not fair. You can't, like, Wagner's terrible there. They can put Jordan Brooks over there, whatever. It doesn't matter. That one's huge. Now, defensive-wise, when the 49ers are on defense, their best matchup is when DK Metcalf is against Ambry Thomas. That scares me. Now, there was only like 1 or 2 times that Steve Wilks left Ambry Thomas one-on-one with Mike Evans. And it got him once on the slant. That wasn't really his fault. That was Tayshaun Gibson was way out of position to help him. He didn't have inside leverage. He had outside leverage. Tayshaun Gibson blew that play, but whatever. There was one play we were in a cover 6, and so to his side, it was quarters. He had no safety help, and, Mike Evans ran a fade route, and Ambry ran it for him. It was awesome. I was so proud. It was an incomplete pass. Ambry was in perfect position the whole time, not even close to a penalty or whatever else. But yeah, DK versus Ambry, that's that's huge. I hope Ambry answers the call, and I'm rooting for him. Us, Nick Bosa versus Jason Peters. Jason Peters is a behemoth and one of the best to ever do it, but Father Time is undefeated. It's just what it is. Now, blue chip on blue chip, and this one I think is like the most consistent matchup. Tyler Lockett versus Charvarius Ward. Ward is having a hell of a year. And I understand that people get mad with the penalties and all that stuff, but you have to understand, you're tilting everything away from Charvarius Ward. This dude is being asked the most difficult cornerback matchup in the entire NFL because we're babysitting Ambry Thomas 95% of the plays by shifting our entire safety, all the help over to his side. Charvarius Ward by himself. Now, it doesn't show this in the broadcast tape. We go through every damn play, offense, defense, special teams, which are all up, by the way. Special teams is recorded. I just haven't loaded it yet. But like I said, this is video 6 today. I have not left this chair. I've been sitting here all day, and I love it. I'm very thankful. I'm not complaining. But, every week in, week out, whenever I watch Charvarius Ward, it's just like, holy cow. This dude is getting level 10 difficulty assignments, play after play after play after play. And yeah, sometimes he's going to hold after 5 yards whenever he doesn't have safety help to his side and we're rotating backers away. 5-yard penalties, not the end of the deal. It's not the end of the world. And I get the out routes suck and all that. He has no safety help behind him. He cannot bite on out routes. You can't do that. Ward is playing some damn good football. And again, like, you could shift things a little bit and give him some more help, but why? He's proven he's okay. Keep giving him the hard job. That's what you're paying him for. We walked on the moon. Love the tag. Lockett and Ward going to be good if the refs let them play. We haven't had a ref, game go our way. I just want a 50-50 game. I'm just tired of the refs going against us. There were so many hands to the face and holding calls that they missed last week. And it was just like, God, it was a one-sided called game. It wasn't a one-sided penalty game, if that makes sense. The refs turned it that way. And I hate that. Can't stand that. Can't stand that. Anyway, I'm going to calm down just a little bit. Matt says, what really annoyed me last game was when Gip dove in front of Ward. Could have been a pick. Yeah, they both almost got that one. But I need Gibson to come back and have a bounce-back game. PFF had him like the 3rd highest-rated player. Whole time during the film, I was like, Gip, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? He made some good plays, but it was just like, man, there was a lot of big plays where I was just like, that's on Gibson. Anyway, we'll see how it goes, and it's going to be a short week. You got the rookie coming in, Jair Brown. We'll have to see what that looks like. Now, let's get to our interesting connections. These are players that kind of overlapped in college, which I love. Shout out to Coach Cruz again. Brady Russell, Isaiah Oliver were together at Colorado. Feliciano and Artie Burns at Miami. A lot of Ohio State guys. Draymond Jones, Nick Bosa, Chase Young at Ohio State. That's a damn good D-line. Penn State, you've got their long snapper, Chris Jones, Jair Brown were at Penn State. Also, Kevin Givens and Stoll overlapped. Sam Darnold, Uchenna, and Nwosu at USC. And Nwosu was kind of the best player for the Seahawks against us last year, the first time we played. Second time, not as much. Third time, even less. He's had kind of a down year. They're taking away a lot of his snaps with Boye Mafe, but Nwosu had a lot of success against us last year. I was watching the tape and I'm like, where's number 10? Why is this dude not out there more often? But I'm like, man, what are they? I don't know. Anyway, Kittle, Noah Fant. Noah Fant kind of took over for Kittle after he left Iowa, and they had Hawkinson and Fant there at the same time. Just amazing. Tight end university. Damon Lewis, TDP, LSU. And a lot of Michigan guys, Devin Bush, Jake Moody, Ronnie Bell, Embry Thomas, Michigan. Notre Dame, we got Aaron Banks and Julian Love. And we got the UTSA, the Roadrunner connection. Tariq Woolen and Spencer Burford. Western Michigan, D. Eskridge, Jalen Moore. Curtis Robinson, Colby Parkinson, Stanford. What's up, Silicon Valley? And then Tennessee, last one, Darrell Taylor and Jawan Jennings were there at the same time. Now, let's talk about making some freaking money. And I hope y'all bet with us last week. Golly, that was a good week. Skip the arguments with Uncle Dave on Thanksgiving and focus on what really matters. Good food, boosted odds, and hitting those Turkey Day parlays. Picture this, not just watching the games, but turning every second into a potential win. With MyBookie, you can stream the games and bet live with updated odds throughout the entire game. Turn any game day into a payday. Now, ready to turn up your game? Sign up today and make your first deposit with promo code 49ERS or scan this QR code next to me if you're watching the video for a sweet deposit bonus up to $1,000. Rollovers do apply. That is promo code 49ERS to claim your deposit bonus. It's not just a promo code, it's a secret weapon. Get that extra edge on the house. So, no matter what you do, bet anything, anytime, and I mean anywhere, wherever you are, you can bet on mybookie.ag. I've been doing it forever, and I move around like a crazy person. So, mybookie.ag, promo code 49ERS. You know, one of my favorite bets every week, not every week, but it depends on the odds and the spread and all those things, is the alternative lines where you can bet per quarter. The 49ers defense is lights out early, man. They're at their best. The 49ers offense is at their best early as well. So the 49ers minus half of a point at the end of the first quarter, bet 5 to win $4.55. Like, you can multiply that however you want to. That's kind of the teaser bet. Now, I'm going to post all my bets on the 49ersrush.com and on our Patreon channel right after this. I'm just posting nonstop. Going to post our special teams footage as well up there. So just stay tuned for that. It's been a rough day. It's been a great day. But now let's get into our predictions. You know, the poll question of the day was who has the best game out of the 49ers skill guys? And we're kind of rotating it, right? I said Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, CMC. Right now, Ayuk has 29% of the vote, CMC 27, Kittle 26, Debo in last place with 17% of the vote. But, man, I was going through and just kind of charting stuff and trying to figure out bets and, you know, kind of consistency numbers and all this stuff. And I was like, man, you know, the targets of the 49ers are really interesting. And then I was looking at receptions. Do you know who leads the 49ers in receptions? It's not one. It's not two guys. It's 3. We have 3 players tied for most receptions on the 49ers with 43 catches. Ayuk, Kittle, and CMC. What do you do if you're stopping these teams? Like, it's everybody. And yeah, right here, Melissa says, you know, Jawan Jennings, 4E. Jennings has disappeared, and that's really, really hurt. Philip, what's up, Philip? He says, glad to catch you live, even if it's at the end of the episode. Thank you, Philip, for making all this happen, man. One of the executive producers of the show, huge supporter. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, brother. And it's been really weird for Jawan Jennings because, man, he's just disappeared. He's still blocking, but he's not doing consistently well. He still gets a couple, you know, pancakes, and he's so aggressive, all that stuff. At some point, he's got to return to the fold as a wide receiver. But I think he's had like 1 catch in 3 weeks. It's weird. I don't know. And he's kind of phasing himself out of this at the worst time. You're going to need him at some point, and I hope that this is the week that he jumps back in. But, yeah, I mean, I think it was like 12.5 yards is the over-under receiving yards for Jawan Jennings. If you want to go bet that, I didn't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. I don't know. I really, I'm just not sure what to do there. Melissa says thoughts on Greenlaw and Lenore. Yeah, Greenlaw, CEO of Seattle. That dude's going to play lights out against a rookie running back that thinks he's physical. Nobody's more physical than Dre Greenlaw. That's going to be freaking awesome to watch. Lenore, I love Lenore. I do not want to see him in the slot against Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, who they put there a lot, but like, I'm not too worried about Jackson Smith. He has not really arrived. I know he's shifty and all that stuff. He hasn't really shown up. He's just been average slot player. Eventually, he's going to show up. He's very talented. I don't want Lenore versus Lockett in the slot. That scares me. I just don't like that matchup. But outside of that, Lenore is freaking awesome. And it's going to take him time to get there. Yeah, it's going to see there. Now, for our predictions, I want you guys to drop your score predictions in the chat if you don't mind. The two hardest days to predict in the NFL are division games and Thursday games. And so here we are. Let's predict the hardest of the hard, the difficult of the difficult. A divisional Thursday night primetime game on Thanksgiving. Both teams coming off a short week. Yeah, it's just different. So Seattle, this is their Super Bowl. It's the most important game for the Niners too, but Seattle's dug themselves a hole because they've lost all these games. Seattle's 1-2 in the division. They got swept by the Rams. Their only win is against the Arizona Cardinals. You lose this game versus the 49ers and you fall to 1-3 in the division and the Niners are ahead of you 2 games. You're only 1 game ahead of the Rams and they own the tiebreaker because they swept you. The only chance that Seattle has to even get close to winning this division, you have to win this game. They have to. They should come out swinging, especially after getting beat last week to an inferior team. However, they don't match up well against us. They're not a very elite team. They are an average team. It's just what they are. And so the 49ers, you do your game. This game's not going to be a matchup. When they had Russell Wilson, they could cover up a lot of stuff with his mobility and all that. Geno ain't it. It's not it. The 49ers defense just needs to let them check down as much as they want, which is what Shane Waldron wants to do. They want to check down, get the ball to their playmakers, but guess what? They're not tackle breakers. Their running backs are, but they don't even give them the ball enough. Their offensive line interior is terrible. It doesn't match. You got these strong, tough running backs and a weak offensive line. Like, it just doesn't match. It's mismatched. And it shows. Zach Charbonnet needs 75-plus yards rushing for them to have a chance. That's what it is. Force Geno to dink and dunk. Don't let DK get behind Ambry Thomas. And offensively for the 49ers, just do what you want. You don't have to go out there and do anything crazy. They load the box, throw it. They back up 2 safeties, run it. It's that simple. Give what they give you because you're so damn good at both. Don't force things, but if you are going to force something, force the run. You can't run the ball enough this game. Rick says, happy Thanksgiving, people. Happy Thanksgiving. Chapman, right back to you, Rick. You're the best. Now, here, and again, like, I gotta play my clip. There's a few clips that are just like everything that we are. George Kittle, what can we not do?
And us being a one-dimensional football team isn't very good.
There we go. If that one-dimensional is run the ball, great. If it's get away from the run, it's bad. But you can still throw the ball because you've been so efficient at it, and Purdy's earned that right. Now, let's talk about this, okay? I brought up Wagner earlier, and one of my favorite things that I looked into was Wagner and pass coverage. He's been really bad for about 4 years now, and he's getting worse every year. Last year, he was with the Rams. We took advantage of him very bad, but so did CMC. You remember the CMC 3-touchdown game, right? Threw one, caught one, run for one. That was huge. But what people don't know, because we're a Niners team and we follow Niners stuff, was what CMC did to Bobby Wagner last year with the Panthers. That's right. Played against the Rams right before they traded him to us. And so he had the huge monster game against Bobby Wagner last year with the 49ers, but also 69 rush yards, nice, and 7 catches for 89 yards on the Panthers versus Bobby Wagner last year. CMC's going off. CMC's going off. He goes off every week. But yardage-wise, oh, yeah. Isolate Bobby Wagner on CMC, please. Let's see how that goes. 49ers are the better team. Some crazy stuff's going to happen. Divisional game, Thanksgiving, on the road, short week, blah, fill in the blank. Craziness is going to happen. And yeah, Mark, what's up, Mark? If I could say one thing, special teams just be average. We win this game. I've got the 49ers win 29-20. I don't know how 29 points comes about. Don't care. This is just a testament to the craziness that is about to ensue with it being a short week, divisional game with so much meaning. I'm pumped about this, man. Number one game of the year. We're going to be there. If you're coming out, 49ers Rush Road Trip will be at the press box the night before. Tailgate the press box again, which is 1 block from the stadium. Indoor, outdoor space. Going to be incredible. Thanksgiving Day food. We're going to sell out the tailgate. We're going to sell it out. So if you want tickets, don't wait. 49ersrushroadtrip.com. We'll go live from Lumen Field right after the game, win, lose, or draw. And we'll be bringing you our stuff. But I'm going to be traveling. Now it's time to pack for the trip. Fly out early in the morning, and we'll go from there. But I want to say thank you guys. Appreciate everybody. And as always, stay strong, faithful.